Hello friends, this is David White, popping in at the front of this episode really quick to tell you if you like the character of Torchbearer, you could pledge $5 over on our Patreon, which helps our show out a lot, but also gives you access to the giant-sized Torchbearer Issue 0, where I talk with the player of Torchbearer, and we talk about goals, powers, origin, backstory, all of that good stuff. So if you want more information on Torchbearer, head over to our Patreon and pledge just $5 a month to get that giant-sized issue. However you choose to enjoy this episode, I do hope that you enjoy it.
Hello, friends. This is Phil Montgomery, and you're listening to Tales to Inspire.
As we open up this issue of Torchbearer number 0, the first panel has a bar front. And up in the corner, we see a little yellow box that says August 25th, 1939, Gritty's Bar, Philadelphia. And we see a few people on the street walking back and forth, and then we see another panel with somebody walking in through the front door of Gritty's Bar. Phil, could you describe, what does this person look like?
You see them kind of wearing a trench coat and a little bit of a rain speckle on their shoulders. He takes off a kind of a cabbie hat, runs his hand through blonde hair. He's got these piercing green eyes. Just kind of looks around. He's never really been in here before. He's only heard stories about it. And heard it was a nice place for a cop to come and get a drink if he wanted it.
Okay. And I think, Grant, you see a stool at the end of the bar that you could go to, and as you're walking by, we see different men lined up on the bar ordering their drinks. A bartender with like the white smock cleaning a dish with the edge of the smock, and they are all looking at a radio that's set up in the corner, and we can see like the little squawky text box coming up out of the radio.
Surrendered to Nazi Germany. Hitler's self-proclaimed symbol of Aryan supremacy, the Übermensch walked down the Champs-Élysées with German troops in tow, flaunting their superiority in front of the overrun population of Paris, France. This reporter has to wonder if Great Britain will be the next country to fall to the furor of the Third Reich and the goose-stomping boots of the Übermensch. Thank God that we here in the United States are safe and uninvolved with this overseas conflict.
And so you hear that report coming out of the radio, and somebody over in the corner says, "Hey, turn that off!" And the bartender reaches over and turns the radio down just as you are sitting down in your stool. Bartender walks over to you and says, "I haven't seen you around here before." What's your name?
I'm Grant Godwin. It's my first time.
Well, I'm happy to serve you. What do you need?
I don't really know. Can I get cranberry juice?
There's a panel of the bartender just looking at you with no text bubble and like a curious look on his face. And the next panel has him in that same pose with a smile on his face. It says, "Sure, bud. Cranberry juice coming right up." And he disappears. And as you're sitting there waiting for your cranberry juice, we see another figure walk into the panel with you and sit down next to you. She has a very wide brim hat with a feather coming out of it. She is tall, broad shoulders, but you can't really tell. Is that her shoulders? Is it the outfit that she's wearing? But she pulls up a stool right next to Grant, and she looks at you and leans on the bar and orders a drink herself. And as she looks at you, she says, "Why so glum?"
It's been a rough day. Seems like the world's going all kinds of crazy, doesn't it?
The bartender walks back with your cranberry juice, puts it down in front of you, puts down a whiskey sour in front of her. She takes a sip she picks it up, and we don't see this woman's face yet. We see like the bottom half of her face, and we see like red lipstick, and she holds the glass up to her lips, and she says, "Some might say the world's been going crazy for a long time." She takes a sip.
They'd be right. And Grant takes a sip of his cranberry juice. It's hard being a cop these days. I just always feel like I'm running around, putting out fires.
What's so bad about putting out fires?
It's just that somebody gets hurt. Somebody gets murdered. We get called to the scene. And it's our job to find out who did it. Something gets stolen. Something gets broken. We get called to the scene to find out who's responsible. And it just feels like day after day, night after night, we're just reacting. And it's not actually helping anybody. Sure, we catch the occasional murderer, we catch the occasional vandal, but I wish we could stop these things before they happen. Before somebody gets hurt. Before something gets broken. You know?
You feel like you're just reacting, and you want to be proactive. Is that right, Grant?
Yeah. How do you know my name?
And I think we haven't seen her full face yet, and then we finally get a panel with her face fully in it, and she has that bright red lipstick. She has curling, bouncing brown hair. She has beautiful green eyes, and then there's a yellow text box right next to her that says, "Felicity Fallon, the 6th Torchbearer." But Felicity looks at you and says, "I know a great many things about you, Grant, and about the capacity for compassion inside of you. If only you could take that compassion and spread it to the rest of this world. Because as the radio was just saying a moment ago, it seems like we could use a lot more compassion. Wouldn't you agree?"
Yeah, I think so.
Felicity reaches up to her big hat with that feather, and she undoes this little pin that's pinned into the fabric there, and she slaps it down on the table in front of you. "Here, take this." as she moves her hand away, that pin is gone. What is in its place on the countertop?
It's kind of a shield shape, like this golden shield. And then on the front, it's kind of this embossed edge. And in the center of it is another embossed etching image of what looks like an Olympic torch. It's this long handle up to this very ornate cup that holds like this roiling flame.
And she takes her hand away, and you see that in front of you.
What's this?
It's a higher calling. A chance for you to stop being reactionary and to start being proactive.
What do I have to do?
Just put it on, Grant. She takes the last drink of her cup. She pats you on the shoulder. And as she walks out of frame, she says, I'll be watching you, Grant. In fact, I suspect the whole world will be watching you. And then this mysterious woman walks out of the bar.
He looks down at the shield that she's left there. Hey, I didn't catch your... She's already gone.
And you see, like, the door slightly ajar, and then a panel of it shutting closed. And we turn the page from those panels, and we see a new panel that says, up in the corner, in that yellowed box, says, July 1940, Liberty Bell, Philadelphia. And we see the iconic Liberty Bell surrounded by the historic district of Philadelphia. But attached to the Liberty Bell, we see wires and nodes and like little tall oblong light bulbs all flickering and going off. And we see people panicking and running around. And up on the ledge next to the Liberty Bell, with all of these machines and wires crisscrossing across him, we see Daniel Duskowitz. Phil, could you describe for us, what does Daniel Duskowitz look like?
He is a very, average height, kind of lanky, very nerdy-looking scientist. He's got these big black-rimmed glasses, and he's got this kind of shock of crazy black hair that's kind of sticking out in all manner of directions all over his head.
Okay. And he's definitely wearing like a full body white smock,
he's
right?
got like a lab coat that's got burns on the sleeves a little bit, and just like these different like acid burns. Just like looks like it's seen better days from all these experiments that he's found himself concocting.
Mm-hmm. And he is standing up at the Liberty Bell and screaming, "Yes! Yes! Panic, my test subjects!" And he's fiddling with these levers on this huge console. And I think at that time, Torchbearer arrives.
Torchbearer kind of falls from the sky and lands at the foot of these steps. Duskowitz, you've gone too far this time.
Oh, goody, it's the Torchbearer, Philadelphia's favorite son.
This isn't how it should be. You're driving all these people mad.
Oh, but I can get so much madder. But this could all end. All I want is the light for myself. And if I had that, imagine the possibilities that I could unlock, the scientific achievements. If only you would give it up.
All you've done here today, Duskowitz, is prove every reason why you should never, ever control the light.
I had a feeling you'd say that. And he grabs this huge red lever and pulls it all the way down. And all these conduits and wires and these light bulbs go from this light flashing to like almost like a blue light or dark light, which in 1940s America has never been seen before. But it channels up from these batteries and things along the base all the way up to the Liberty Bell, and there's this resounding gong as a wave of miasma shoots out in all directions. And we see this bright, beautiful day, the colorful houses all around the Liberty Bell get saturated in this like deep purple, almost black color, and it reaches out and just washes over the crowds of people in this area. And Torchbearer, I would like for you to roll a Defy Danger roll. So go ahead and take 2d6 and add your Protect stat to it.
That'd be a 13.
A 13. Very handedly. So this dark light washes over you, and we see a panel of like these tendrils of this purplish black light eking their way towards your eyes. But you resist. Tell us, how do you resist?
This wave washes over him, and it threatens to overtake him as these tendrils creep up his face towards his eyes. And you see a flash of light at his eyes that kind of causes these tendrils to shirk and to jump back from him. And then from this golden shield that he wears on his chest, this light begins to emit, and these tendrils just kind of retreat from him, like from all over his body, as he creates this kind of shell of light around him to protect himself.
Yeah, I like that. So like everything in the panel is dark and purplish, but like there's this oblong shape around Torchbearer, and he's like the color that he like should be, like his outfit is all showing. And I guess what kind of outfit is Torchbearer wearing? What does he look like?
He has it like his muscular figure and his blonde hair and his green eyes, and he has this a kind of uniform that's kind of a mix and match between like what the army at the time was wearing and what the police officers at the time wear. So he has like this very nice, like kind of trapezoidal buttoned top with these like a utility belt around his waist, this gold utility belt, and these fatigue pants with the gaiters around the boots. They're like a golden yellow leather. He has these golden leather bracers around his wrists, his long sleeves, and he has a short cape that is tied like under one arm and over his right shoulder, under his left arm and over his right shoulder, and it's kind of cinched in place by that golden badge.
Dope. I like that.
It's like an old Shazam type.
Yeah, definitely.
Like cape.
So yeah, so we see Torchbearer resist the effects of this, but then I think you look around and you notice the general populace is not able to resist. You see those tendrils eke over their face, into their eyes, and the white of their eyes, the color of their pupils, or their irises, turn this purplish, misty color. And they like go rigid at first, and then they start like screaming animalistically. They start grabbing property and throwing it. They start jumping on each other and pounding each other in the head. And we see Torchbearer looking at all of this, and up at the top of the bell tower, Duskowitz is laughing. Yes! Yes! Destroy each other! Oh, I must take notes. I have to see exactly how my test subjects react to this experiment.
Duskowitz, you've done it now. The light is meant to stoke the best in people. It's meant to make them better. It's meant to make them stronger. All you've done is increase the darkness. I won't let you do this, Duskowitz.
Oh, I assure you, Torchbearer, it will make me stronger. And he grabs like a little dial and starts turning it up, and more waves of that miasma starts shooting out from the Liberty Bell.
I have to stop this machine. I can't let these people get hurt. I can't let this darkness exist anymore. Rush towards this machine, kind of pulling back a fist that glows with this bright and brilliant light.
Yeah, let's go ahead. So you're trying to smash this machine? Okay, let's roll a takedown.
Okay.
So roll 2d6, and I think you're definitely using your smash stat for this. So go ahead and roll your smash stat.
My goodness, a 6.
A 6? Okay, so I think you like jump towards it, your fist glowing, but Duskowitz sees you coming, and he like cranks that dial up even more, and you're hit bodily with a wave and sent crashing back to the ground. And as you do, you look up and you see a crowd of these people all around you. And Duskowitz says, Yes, my Tusk subjects, extinguish the light and bring it to me.
Torchbearer kind of gets up and sees all these people surrounding him. He's like, no, you don't have to do this. You don't have to listen to him. And Torchbearer kind of like increases this light around him and will start kind of like these intense waves coming from this machine, and just creates a shield in front of him to try and slowly like step forward towards this machine, pushing the darkness back with the light.
Okay. And I think you described it as like this barrier, and I think we see the people like grabbing onto the barrier and crawling over it and pounding it with their fists. Let's roll a seize control. Let's roll protect.
Okay. An 8.
An 8. So on a 7 through 9, you get to choose one. You seize control over what was contested. You prevent yourself from ending up at a disadvantage or in harm's way, or you put your opponent at a disadvantage.
I think I'll seize control.
Seize control. Okay, so you're going to seize control. So go ahead and tell us. So you're going to seize control of this, but I am going to put you in harm's way by what you do. So think about that as you narrate. How do you get to the machine?
He's struggling against these waves after wave of this darkness, and he's pushing with all of his strength, make his way up these steps towards the bell. And as he gets closer, the waves just hit harder and harder, and it starts deteriorating his light, and the light and the barrier start to shrink. But he finally gets up there, but he has no protection, and so he's right there with the bell, but all the people are able to like kind of get at him now, and he has no more protection.
Yeah, I think you're right there next to the bell. All these people are piling on top of you, tearing at your cloak and your skin. And go ahead and roll a defy danger with your protect stat.
10.
A 10. All right, so they are tearing at you and trying to pull you back down, but you stand strong. You take no stress from this. And you're right there next to Duskowitz's machine. You have succeeded on getting there. How do you destroy it?
We see Torchbearer like push himself up and like create this new barrier of light to kind of shield himself from all these people trying to tear at him and push them away a little bit. So he has like this kind of a free moment with the machine, and I want to say that he grabs the bottom of it and will start trying to uproot it and fly it upwards, just to try and tear it away from these dials and batteries and these other gadgets that Duskowitz is attached to him. Yeah,
and you grab it, and like you said, you shoot up towards the sky, and all those wires and tubes and conduits pull tight, and Duskowitz screams out, "No!" And he jumps from the tower to grab like a wire, and like in a completely boneheaded move, try to keep you, the Torchbearer, from carrying it up. And he like fumbles and misses. But as he does, he hits one of those bulbs, and it shatters, and this dark light miasma shoots out of it along with the glass, and we just see Duskowitz holding his face and screaming, "My eye! My eye!" And he gets tangled up in these wires and just kind of like doesn't fall all the way down to the ground, but just slumps down and is left swinging from the top of the bell tower upside down with the cords all around him. But Torchbearer, you have the machine and you fly it up, up, up into the atmosphere. And then what do you do with it?
In a very comic-y
Yes.
way of trying to reverse the damage that Duskowitz has done to these people and the influence he's had on this area, I want Torchbearer to be kind of like holding the bell up with one hand and then create like this light barrier and smash the bell in a way that it rings out over everything again, but this time it's waves of light and it's kind of washing away this dark miasma and these tendrils that have attached themselves to the people in the area, causing them to panic.
I like that. Yeah, you hit the Liberty Bell, and with another resounding gong, waves of light shoot out, restoring the color to the scene and to the houses and to the people below. And we see those tines of darkness fall away from their face. Their eyes are normal again. And then we turn the page, and we see, like, the police have arrived. And there's an ambulance there, and some medical workers are checking on people to make sure they're okay. And you see a couple of police officers have Duskowitz like in handcuffs and are leading him away. And you see there is like a bandage wrapped up around his head and over that eye that he was holding earlier. And as they're leading him into the van, one detective, Randall, walks over to you. She says, "Thanks for your work today. Good job, detective. I mean, Grant. What exactly are you going by nowadays?"
It's okay, Rebecca. You can call me Grant.
All right. Well, thanks for today.
I just wish I could have gotten here sooner. Might have saved all these people a lot of hardship, a lot of pain.
Well, I'm sure they feel differently. And she like motions behind you, and you see this crowd of people like swarming around you, and we see Grant like exalted above these people. Somehow the artist has drawn him like up above these people next to Rebecca, and all these people are like clamoring and raising their hands to you, and we see like all these different text boxes merging into one, and it just says, "Thank you, Torchbearer," and it has like the huge logo of your name there in the text bubble. And then we turn the page to the final page of this issue, and we are inside that ambulance carrying Professor Duskowitz, and we see the medical attendees all around him. We see him kind of strapped down in handcuffs, that bandage over his eye, and then we see a panel that's closer to his face, and then panel that's even closer to his face, and we see that behind the folds of the fabric of that bandage, we see just little glowing dark light in the shape of an eye bleeding through. And we just see a little weak text box that says, "Yes." And then down at the bottom of that panel, we see, "To be continued in Tales to Inspire, Issue 1. End of episode.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Tales to Inspire. We'll be back with our next episode in 2 short weeks. If you have social media, you can find us on Facebook and Twitter. Like and follow us at MisconceptionsPod for up-to-date information about the show, behind-the-scenes pictures, and just to show us your general positive feelings about the show. We also have a Discord. You can click the link below to join our Discord so that you can chat with other friends of the show and chat with other cast members directly. We also have an email. If you would like to contact us that way, you can email us at misconceptionspod@gmail.com. This show is fully supported by the generous monthly donations of our patrons on Patreon. If you would like to join that elite group of supporters and gain access to exclusive content, please consider joining our Patreon. The Tales to Inspire theme song was composed by Esteban Del Pino. You can find out more about his music on fiverr.com/IAM_WAKE. Torchbearer was played by Phil Montgomery, who can be found at BMC Philanthropy on Twitter. And I'm David White, your editor-in-chief. You can find me at Mr. Banana Socks on Twitter. The role-playing game system used in this production was a modified version of the Worlds in Peril role-playing game by Sam Joko Publishing. Tales to Inspire is a product of the Misconceptions Podcast Network. Find out more about our other shows and buy cool merch at misconceptionspod.com. And that's it for this week's episode of Tales to Inspire. Thank you so much for listening, and keep it nerdy, y'all.